Amorim needs a new right wing back. Now, we've covered 3 options he could look at within Manchester United already. Check that video out if you haven't already seen it. Now, we're going to cover 3 signings he could look at. 2 from the Premier League and 1 from Portugal. Let's get into it. Spoiler alert, Jeremie Frimpong isn't part of this list. We decided to look specifically at left-footed options given Amorim's preference, but with a €40 million release clause, Frimpong is definitely an option United will already have, and you'll already know about him. So let's speak about the others. Right then, so we've already taken a look at those 3 players from within United. Let's talk about 3 players that we could sign. You can let me know in the comments. What right wing back do you think starts for United next year? It's going to be a hard prediction. You can let me know what you think. Now, I'm going to run through 3 options, and the first one here, maybe you won't be expecting. And that is Yankuba Minteh from Brighton. Of course, he only just joined Brighton this season from Newcastle, but a 20-year-old has had a pretty impressive season. Let me tell you a few things about Minteh and why I think he could be a good option at right wing back. Minteh has played as a winger for Brighton, but he has all the attributes to thrive as a right wing back. When compared to other wingers and attacking midfielders, he wins an impressive number of tackles per 90, with most coming in the defensive third, and his intensity in defensive work is outstanding. He's constantly challenging ball carriers and dispossessing them. He ranks highly for interceptions and clearances, which suggests he does possess that natural defensive awareness. But just watch this defensive recovery here. We've been watching Minteh ever since, really. Offensively, he's equally as impressive. Ranks well both for attempted and successful take-ons. And he ranks highly for carries into the penalty area, and that does make him that threat going forward, and the numbers back it up. In 22 matches across all competitions this season, he's got 7 goals and 6 assists. Among under-21 swingers and attacking midfielders in Europe's top 5 leagues, Minteh ranks highest for expected assists per 100 passes and has the most goals per 100 touches. It's not bad. He shows excellent ball control, has the agility, has got a change of pace. He's a direct player who uses his speed to run at defenders, and he's extremely difficult to knock off the ball. He's got everything United would need and still has room to grow. Now, Minteh would be, of all the 3 names I'm about to tell you, probably the most expensive. Was he around about 33 million, I think, when Newcastle sold into Brighton? So you're probably looking at north of 50. That might rule him out. But on paper, you could see him being converted into a right wing back, and he would have all the attributes. He would be Premier League proven. And for a lot of people, they'd love to see United sign some Premier League proven players this summer. Let me know what you think about Minteh. But second on the list is somebody from Portugal, and that's Roger Fernandes. Now, quite a few have already been talking about the 19-year-old as an alternative to Kenda, but let me just tell you a bit more info about him. Roger Fernandes currently plays for Braga, and he'd kind of be a bit of a similar low-risk signing to Patrick Dorgu. He's a high-intensity player with relentless pressing. He does have that explosive direct play in possession. He's currently playing as a right winger, but began his career as a left-back, so he already has that naturally in his locker. Like Minteh, he's a good tackler and performs well in the defensive third, and while he doesn't challenge dribblers often, when he does, he's got a very high success rate. He's a great ball carrier, looks to take on defenders, and his ball carrying numbers combined with the eye test suggest he would be a good weapon when moving between the boxes, which we need from a right wing back. He loves to shoot, has a bit of a rocket of a left foot, and he gets an impressive number of shots on target, given that he shoots from an average of 20 yards. In terms of height and physicality, he stands at a bit of a diminutive 1.7 metres, but he backs himself to beat opposing defenders with the pace and skill rather than power, so a little bit different to Dorgu in that sense. He has the ability to spin his man using a quick touch and can maintain balance, even when under contact. And the wing-back position requires, the tenacity, the physicality, the pace. Roger definitely has got those qualities. It remains to be seen if he performed well in the Premier League, but that's kind of the risk you have when you try and sign players who aren't Premier League proven. Potential concerns around his size, they'd be there, given that we're trying to become a more physically dominant team. His one-footedness might be an issue, but given that Kenda's left, Roger Fernandes is a viable alternative from Braga. He'd certainly be the cheapest of the 3. And maybe for that reason alone, United will be looking at him. But the third name on my list is a little bit of a curveball, really. What about Tyler Dibling? Now, the 19-year-old, of course, has operated as a winger for Southampton and also played, I think, a little bit centrally earlier in his career, only for little parts. Let me just explain to you why Tyler Dibling is on this list. On the face of it, he's not an obvious choice of wing-back, but when you dig deeper, it's an interesting possibility. He's a very dangerous dribbler, thanks to that combination of speed, close control, and sort of that impressive size that he uses to hold off players and ride challenges. As United fans, we've seen him do this a couple of times against us this season. He's very agile for his size. He can change direction quickly. He's known to go on impressive solo runs, beats defenders along the way, and that ball-carrying ability, that confidence with the ball at his feet and bringing the ball up the pitch is a key characteristic of being a successful right wing-back. His classy first touch, it does help him lose his marker, and he does have impressive footwork. Dibling is equally adept playing it in open spaces, really. He has impressive acceleration that he maintains over distance, and it makes him a threat on the counter. When in the final third, he's got good vision, can pick out a pass. Out of possession, he's a good tackler and a strong dueler, and it kind of suggests that if you wanted to, anyway, you could convert him into a right wing-back. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but you can see why it would make sense. If it didn't work out, you could just turn him into a right winger instead. And looking at the stats, it doesn't really help too much with Dibling. But when you look at him, and the eye test is where Dibling really passes. Because if United don't sign him this summer, and Southampton go down, Dibling is going to play in the Premier League next season for somebody. And it could be United. So there are sort of three options that I think you could look at in terms of bringing in a right wing back. Minteh from Brighton, the most expensive. But on paper, maybe the most exciting when you think about converting him into a wing back. Then you've got Roger Fernandes from Braga. The cheapest of the three, and I suppose in that sense the biggest risk of the three. But maybe a risk that United will financially have to take. And then you've got Dibling, who on paper isn't a right wing-back. But he's young. He's got the whole physicality to deal with it. Ball carrying. Great dribbling. And him and Ahmed on that right-hand side, it could be an exciting thought. You can let me know what you think in the comments. There are three players that we could sign, and I've already ran through three players you could promote to be our right wing back from within. Which would you choose?